today. So we have this recording. Now we've got Dolly. I don't think I've met Dolly. Dolly, can you type in the comments where you are calling us from so that we can just have an understanding? And Zara. Dolly, you just changed your name. Now I recognize. I'm like, wait a minute. That's what happens, when you're known by the one name. And also Chanel and Pipi, nice to meet you guys. Okay, yeah, Northcote. Just you could have just come to my office today, Tamara. You're just like down the road from me.
I should have. It's raining.
I haven't checked outside. Great stuff. All right, so I'm gonna just obviously get started. Whoever jumps in, they will jump in. We can't be waiting for everybody, but I'm really excited about your choice today for first of all learning and just having an understanding of what it is that we're doing and what we're hoping to be creating here. So, in essence, I suppose everybody that's on the call today is either owning a business or has some form of activity when it comes to operating a business. If you can just put in the chat so that I can actually really personalize this conversation. What is it that you do? And maybe preferably how long you've been doing it for. That way, me and my team will be able to really, really personalize this and make sure that everyone is catered for. So thank you so much for that. So we all understand that, we're working in, using social media and everyone is overwhelmed. Everyone is exhausted. I don't think we want to continue running in the way that um all right, just give me a second, let me just make sure. Yeah, all right, can everybody hear me? Right, I just wanted to make sure. So we're all sort of overwhelmed and exhausted and there's pretty much nothing left to give right now, and that's why so many entrepreneurs actually are feeling from what I've been hearing. And especially when you're trying to scale a business, here in Australia or wherever in the world, it's getting harder and harder because the platforms that we're working on are also making it harder and harder for us to reach our audiences. But I'm here to position this and say, what if it doesn't have to be that way? What if, your business gave you a lot more energy instead of actually stealing it away from you? And if you could actually wake up clear-headed and motivated and actually start building momentum without you even burning out. I know it sounds like a pipe dream for a lot of people because those that are in Australia, you only just recently heard now inflation has become part of what we also have to deal with every single day. So it never seems to end, especially. And I want you to have an understanding that the growth of your business doesn't mean you have to do more. You actually can be doing it with the right kind of people and the right kind of information. So you might be wondering, for those that are not quite sure or well versed with who I am, I'll just give you a brief outline of what I do and what I have been creating. So I'm a digital marketing strategist and the author of a book called Own Your Media. And I'm also the founder of the Media Moguls Club that you're going to be hearing about a little bit later on. So after I built Livelong Digital into, I think, a fairly sizable agency for coaches and consultants, I actually went on and, yes, wrote the book and also studying a hub where I want entrepreneurs to sort of meet and help each other really create businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. And the reason why I want to do this is I want people to stop chasing algorithms. I want people to start owning their messages. I want people to actually start being proud of being a business owner. So I'm not just a founder. I'm also, a fellow individual that has come through the hardships of not being able to actually own my media, and I'll be telling you the story of what actually happened and how all of this came about. But for you to have the context of where it all started off from. I arrived in Australia almost we're going on 14 years now. And the first thing that I did was actually start working in a restaurant. Now, I want you to type in the comments there, what was your first job? Like, what was the first job that you did ever in your entire life? So mine was working in a restaurant. And, as somebody who had just arrived, I wanted to connect with the people that I was working with. And that became very, very impossible because nobody had social media at that particular time. So I took it upon myself and I went on and I created a Facebook page for that particular business. But obviously that wasn't taken lightly by the business owner. I actually got fired for opening up that Facebook page. So you can imagine I've just arrived in the country. I'm trying to connect with people, and the very thing that was making me connect with people is the very thing that got me fired. So while that was happening, I was actually asked to delete that page. So I don't know if you understand how Facebook works. You are given 30 days to delete that page. So during that time, stuff started happening onto the page. That page actually didn't disappear. In the 30 days before it started to be deleted, people actually started tagging themselves while they were at that restaurant. They were posting photos, they were actually leaving positive comments. And everybody was just raving about the food at that restaurant. So now the business owner is seeing this newfound fame and he didn't know what to do. And the same boss actually called me back, if you can believe that. So I was called back, and now I was no longer running the restaurant side of things. I was actually now supposed to run the social media side of things. So now you can imagine I'm having to learn all about social media. I'm having to learn how to run a business. I'm having to learn how to actually maintain the growth that was happening. And in the process, all of that also led to my own personal growth, right? So while I was working behind the scenes, running the Facebook page, I also started growing myself. And while I was, in that position of growth, I started creating my own personal brand. As you can see, I did work with Snap Fitness. I've been even on Australian TV. I was in a lot of Facebook groups. I even created my own Facebook group. And all this growth was happening within Facebook. Now, that came to a complete halt in 2020 when I was actually banned off of my actual Facebook now. So you can imagine I'd put in all this momentum, I'd put in all this growth, I'd put in all this wanting to know people, understand them, and learn more about the particular platform. And Facebook took it all away from me. I built a business on Facebook. Every client, every testimonial, every connection, every person that was in my Facebook groups. I even chose this particular time strategically, because every at 2 p.m. AEST, I would show up and do a Facebook Live. So that had become my thing, And one morning, I just woke up with a message that completely changed everything. I had lost all of that. So my account was disconnected, no warning, no explanation, everything just taken away from me. And for those that were here earlier on, it felt like starting from scratch, just like back at that restaurant again. And that had been 5 years of work, all the pages that I'd created, all the groups that I had started forming, all the connections that I had built, all of that was taken away. And I can still remember that sinking feeling in my stomach. It wasn't just about losing followers, it was losing proof of who I'd become. It was losing the credibility of the work, the substance of what I had created. And what that made me realize is I didn't own any of it. I built this whole dream on rented land, and the landlord just changed the locks on that particular day. And yeah, that just left me fully broken. So I want you in the comments there if you've ever been at least locked out, or if you've been given a Facebook ban or an Instagram ban, or has anything like that ever happened to you? I want you to type um in the comments there. And Claire says, what a big lesson. We can only learn from social media. It's a distribution and platform and can only be, yes, exactly. See, the thing is, a lot of us lean into social media as the backbone of what we're supposed to create. And when somebody says, I have a big business, they're talking about the audience that they have that are just simply watching their things on social media, not necessarily the actual business, because all those followers and likes and shares and comments, they need to be harnessed and harvested so that you can actually convert them into customers that pay. And Tamara says, yes, I was deleted from the Facebook community page because I advertise too often. But you can only imagine we're on social media in order for us to put our businesses out there, right? So if you don't own that group or that community, the community owners are just going to, obviously ban you or delete you because it's all about ownership. But even though they would have done that because they own that group, they still don't own the audience that is within that group. So yes, their power might only just be as limited as them just giving you, a key to one room of a, multi-story building. So that's exactly what it is that's there. So when I lost access to my Facebook, I literally was redirected, because then I started realizing and understanding that when you own your media, when you own the connection between you and your audience, you literally can rest assured that you're creating and maintaining that relationship. So pretty much after I was out, I started a podcast, and my goal really was to just help people to have an understanding of how to run a business and how to actually make sense of the world around them. Because as you are later on going to understand, if you don't own your media, you don't own your message, you don't own the market, you actually even don't own the relationship with some of the customers that you might have. So once I started creating that sort of podcast, it really put me in front of the audience, because people would, we would do maybe a meeting like this, and people would ask me questions and ask me how I did it and ask me what they can do themselves and how they can actually, start managing their business. And then from there, it really opened up a scenario where I was not the only person that was experiencing this. Okay, we are all too familiar with using social media platforms. First, we're sharing our content on there, but here's the catch. We don't necessarily, once you've posted that information, you don't own it. So these platforms can actually change their rules at any time, and it actually impacts the way you reach your message, or they have a certain way that they want you to post. So by the time your message or your posts have actually reached your audience, they're probably watered down. They're probably, not exactly how you intend them to be. So I can maybe pick out somebody like Tamar. Tamar, you obviously are not allowed to give any information about finance or anything unless somebody has actually explicitly asked, and you need to put out a disclaimer that this information is for educational purposes only and stuff like that. And platforms like Google or Facebook can literally ban you just because they think you're giving health advice or financial advice and things of that nature, and it stops you, or it actually gags you as a business owner to try and put information out there to your audience. And that's not fair. When we start these businesses, we are literally not we're literally trying to feed our families or look after ourselves, and the last thing that you need is somebody telling you how and when and how frequent you can actually post. How else are we supposed to be putting information out there? You see, what social media did is they killed ways that we used to use before. Back in the time, there used to be the yellow pages. And in the yellow pages, your information would be there no matter what, unless somebody actually threw the book away. But with social media, it's you have to pay to play, really, and that maybe some people don't quite have the means to actually have that going. So think about it. Are we actually comfortable to just let somebody detect the terms of our engagement? Are we comfortable to let the future of our business be in the hands of somebody who doesn't even care whether you exist or you don't? And that's a scary position to be in if you literally don't understand how social media is actually impacting the way we are mentally, physically, and our own our own health. And I still suspect during 2020, maybe Claire, you would understand this. During 2020, they wanted certain narratives to be the only narratives that were prevalent in the social media space. And now I'm starting to come to terms that maybe that was also part of the reason why I was not made to continuously show up, because what was I doing during that time? I was telling people everything is going to be okay, yet they wanted it to be in a whole different way. So from there, I gathered myself up, and then we started creating content and started putting stuff out there. And that was the book. That was the essence of the book, Own Your Media. So in the chats there, if you haven't gotten a copy of the book, let me know a little bit later on, and just tell me where to ship it. The book is free. You just need to pay for shipping. That's how we've set it up, because I really want this book to be in as many hands as possible. Okay. Yeah, and especially if you're in Melbourne or whatever, I can possibly hand deliver myself. And Claire says, I just got your book and it's on the list to read. Definitely you have to read it, Claire, because the thing is, I wrote it in such a way that if we keep going the way we're going right now, so many businesses are not going to go past the year 2030. All right, because all these platforms are continuously changing their algorithms. They're continuously moving so that they shift and they can actually follow whatever narrative is out there. I don't know if anyone has read it. So far in China, if you don't have a degree, you can no longer post about finance. You can no longer post about nutrition. You can no longer post about things of that nature. And as I don't know if you guys know, China is usually the trade testing ground for a lot of things. And if it goes through in China, it's definitely coming over here. All right. Yes, maybe some of us might have our qualifications based on who we have become, not necessarily a university grade qualification. And that's the thing that they're going to be looking for. So if you haven't created a pathway between you and your existing audience or your clients, how else do you think you're going to be able to speak to them in the near future? Right. So Zara says, yes, organic reach is really hard because Facebook only shows it to some of the followers first. And then if they don't engage, the rest of the members will never get to see it. And that's exactly because for them, their reach is influenced by who's seeing it, and is it going to generate interest amongst their viewers. Now, what you need to understand is, even though there's billions of people on Facebook, not everyone is going to be a customer. You don't necessarily need to be entertaining all those people. Mark Zuckerberg is probably on his yacht right now, enjoying whatever holiday he might be, and yet you're there dancing and trying to entertain his people so that they can stay longer on the platform. If you want to know something as well, the reason why links don't even go out is because they don't want people leaving the platform. So they just want creators like yourself to just show up, put in the content, do whatever you're doing, and get nothing in return. And that's painful. So when you look at Own Your Media, this is not just a phrase. This is literally what I consider a movement. It's a system that really helps coaches and consultants to take back control of their message. You've worked really hard to get to where you are. The last thing you need is just some sort of password reboot that just takes away your whole hard-earned work. If you really look at it, right, you are creating all of this, right? So maybe platforms like YouTube might pass you a bit of acknowledgement that you're doing something, but all of this is free labor. What are you actually getting in return? Because you're entertaining all their people and they're not allowing those people to even come to your platforms and things of that nature. So when you post on social media, you're not a customer. You're actually the product. You're actually the content that people are coming to the internet for. You know, yes, YouTube might call you a partner, but they maybe pay you pennies to entertain their billions of users. And also, who is a YouTube partner here? Can you please type in the comments if you've got a YouTube platform and you're being paid by YouTube at least to show up? Or did you even know? Or did you know YouTube actually pays you to put content on the platform? If you knew, say yes. If you didn't, say no, so that we can just understand that. So yeah. So YouTube calls you a partner, you know? Facebook gives you reach, right? But until you stop playing, so it's pay to reach. Twitter, not LinkedIn, X has a funny statement that they say. They say there's freedom of speech, but there's no freedom of reach. You can say whatever you want to say, but you won't reach those people that you want to exactly reach out to them. So when you own your media, I'll be explaining to you how you can do this and what this actually means. So when you own your media, you literally flip the script. All right. And when you flip the script, what you're doing is you are giving yourself at least a fair chance to stand out, because not a lot of people have this option or this opportunity. You know, when you stop feeding the algorithm, you actually start feeding your business. The content stops, renting attention. It actually starts building assets. All right. And when you're renting this attention, it's exhausting. You wake up in the morning and you're hoping whatever you created yesterday has returned something, but nothing. And the moment they change the algorithm based on what's happening at that particular moment, that's it. But when you own your media, you're owning your message, you're owning the engagement, you're owning the distribution of that message, you're owning your own influence and the assets that you actually then create your own system. So you don't have to keep repeating yourself when the algorithm changes. And that's leverage. And leverage builds a business. Tamara would understand leverage. When you go out to buy a house or a property, you just put in a bit of a deposit and then you let the leverage do the rest of the heavy lifting. That's exactly what we're saying. The deposit is just you showing up in a way that you understand, in a way that you're confident in. All right. Are you good at voice? Are you good at writing? Or are you good at video? That's the only thing that you need to figure out to start off with if you want to create your message. And then once that is in play, I will explain to you how that works. Because if you are feeding yourself based on followers, likes, and comments, I'll tell you something, followers are fragile. The moment they stop seeing you, they're not going to come and knock on your house's door and say, hey, sorry, guys, there's something that I haven't seen from you in a while. I don't know. Maybe that happens in your business, but I've never seen anyone coming up and saying, hey, Prosper, about those posts, when was Tuesday's post? I haven't got it in my way of looking here. So all the followers just disappear when the platform suspends your account. So the way you want to start thinking of it is, are these followers also engaging with me first? Have you gotten their email address? Do you know who exactly it is that you're speaking to? Have you got a way to turn those followers into, leads at least? Because if you're giving away value, then at least some people might actually have to exchange that value with some sort of an email address. Every one of us has an email address that they can actually start receiving a bit of information. And you want to make sure as a business person, you're building that database, because that now becomes an asset. So when you own your media, you own your email list, you own your website, you own your audience, you're no longer chasing trends. Whatever is happening at that particular moment on social media, you don't have to worry about that. You just show up, put whatever post, and make sure that your audience, your email recipients are working. Are receiving the very information that you're putting out there. So many of us just leave, that aspect of our business to the social media platform to nurture those people, to make sure that they are actually engaged. But that is your job as a business person. All right. So you want to ask yourself, what is my message? Your message is basically, what do you want people to ask you to do for them? And I think that's the simplest way to look at it. All right. If somebody shows up today, Claire, what do you want them to ask you to do for them? All right. So yeah, maybe you can unmute yourself. Just let me know. What do you want people to ask you to do for them?
Help me relieve the discomfort I feel inside and become a better communicator with impact.
Okay. You want them to ask you to help them become a better communicator, right? And do you know? Absolutely. Yes. And do you know what that would help them achieve when they become a better communicator?
Peace of mind. They feel seen. They get their message out, and people understand them, and they can be understood.
Absolutely. So your goal, Claire, is to make sure that they understand that throughout, that they're going to get peace of mind, that they're going to get understood. Because if people don't understand what they will physically get from you, they're not going to know how to ask it of you. All right. And once we've done that, you want to find ways to engage with these people. So how do you best engage? Engagement comes in what you're really good at. So if you're good at talking, right, or writing or video, there are different ways that you can show up in the marketplace. If you're good at talking, you can start a podcast. And for people, and that now becomes your entry point into the marketplace. Because when you own that piece of content, especially when it comes to being like a podcast, you can now repurpose that piece of content. That one podcast, you can transcribe it into a blog. You can transcribe it into, assets that you use online on different social media platforms. And I'll tell you something that just happened to us not long ago, which was like a test of our own medicine. I think, I don't know, did you guys see when AWS fell or went offline and so many platforms were disrupted? How many people saw that? Did you see when that happened? So when that happened, half of our YouTube platform did not come back. Right. So we have over, I think, maybe 2,000 videos that we have in the platform. And it's only just coming back because we started talking to support team. And had we not started instigating that, maybe nobody would have tried to reinstate that. And that's not any error of anyone's doing, because when the platform came in, it just picked up on whatever information that was saved or backed up within YouTube. But some of our videos are syndicated from other platforms. That's why they were not showing on there. So we wanted them to allow that to happen, and then they start coming back on again. So had we not backed up our information on our podcast, we would have started from zero. So it's things like that that are happening, and it's not a one-off thing. These things are constantly happening. So when a platform decides to change their systems or upgrade their security, you could be wiped off completely. And that could be your whole life's work, just like that. So yes, I've gotten banned from Facebook. Yes, we almost didn't make the cut on YouTube. But you know what? The best thing that has ever happened because of that is because this has actually started pushing me to really, really consolidate and actually focus on owning my media and making sure that the distribution is not dependent on any platform being up or any platform being down. And that's the reason why we're also going to be studying these direct communication and context with, webinars and just maybe afternoon lunch and learns. Because if you don't see it or you don't hear about it, you might not even know things like this are happening. And you might not know what the next way forward would be. And once you've gotten all your information ready, you can actually start automating the processes. That, like I said about the RSS feed, all of that we can teach you how to set up, and you can have your information sitting in one repository, and then it can syndicate to all these different places, and you don't have to worry whether the platform is on or not. Your information is there, and it has got ways to bring people back to you. So that's just the gist of owning your media. This is something that takes quite a while to sort of figure out, but once you've gotten it figured out, it makes life so easy for you. So some people might be thinking, this is another tactic, or is this something that you're just talking about? But let me tell you something. This is an actual vehicle for your freedom. And you start really creating yourself as a category of one. Because once you have mastered your market, you identify who exactly you want to serve, and you actually start reaching out to those kind of people, reaching out with maybe an ebook or a book of your choice, or your podcast, because now you're creating for and relating to that particular audience. You're no longer just trying to please everyone on social media for likes and shares. And once you've gotten that, if you know who exactly you're talking to, I'm speaking to a few of you here, I know the exact message that each and every one of you guys want to hear. I know you're tired of doing random acts of marketing. So when you understand who you're talking to, you just want to craft a story that really magnetizes your market, and it makes you unforgettable in a way that you're not spraying and praying with your marketing. Who's got the time for that? What do they call putting spaghetti to a wall hoping it sticks? I think that happens in the first world. I'm brought up in Africa. We don't waste food like that. You know what I mean? So yeah. And then once you've figured out what your media is, you start choosing the channels that you own, and you actually dominate your your reach and with consistency. Because you might be saying, what actually is media? Media is just the last bit that you use to put the message out. Back in the time, media was a telephone. Back in the time, media was newspaper. Back in the time, media was a sign on the door. But now, because of technology, the media has just changed. And who do people say you are? You want to position yourself, you define your category, and people start knowing you for exactly what it is that you do for them and what they should ask you to do for them, like we say. And when you show up, you've built the systems, you start attracting leads, and everything works like clockwork. That's where the automation comes in. The whole idea of showing up online is to really let people know what it is that you can help them with. So that's educating them. That's entertaining them. And that's allowing them to buy from you. So if you've heard acronyms from yesteryear, some they call it SEO. I think now it's called GEO. If you really replace all of that, it's simply educating others. You're simply educating your market as to who you are, what it is that you do, why you, why now, and why should they care to receive it from you. And once you've given them the value, they're educated enough, then they might start thinking to themselves, you know what? I think I am empowered to ask questions, because nobody wants to appear stupid, especially when they show up and they seem to not know what to ask you, because people want to appear at least knowledgeable. So why not give them information in advance? And once you've given them that information in advance, guess what happens? They will actually now be empowered and say, oh, so Tamara, what is a LVR? And you're like, oh, at least you know what we're talking about. Because then if you start talking to them about loan to value ratio, then they're like, oh, that's mathematics, and I didn't attend the day when they were talking about ratios or polynomials and things of that nature. But if you give that information in advance, guess what happens? They're now just validating that at least I kind of know what's going on and I'm not making a mistake, because nobody wants to make a mistake. And if you look at half of the things that you guys are selling, Tamara, sells residential mortgages. Claire, you're doing that stuff with communication. People don't want to make a mistake. They want to make sure that it's a hit. Because when you're going to be buying a house, you don't want to, because it's the most expensive thing that you're doing. It's the most expensive transaction that you'll ever have to go through, and there's no do-overs. And that scares people. So can you imagine what is it that you're doing, and how can you make it easy for people to understand how you can possibly help them? And once they understand that, that's just what you just need to show up on either social media or places repeating. All right. And I might hear you saying, oh, isn't this just like content marketing? I can understand. Yeah. But content marketing is just basically creating on repeat, and you're feeding the algorithm. And then tomorrow you do it all over again. But when you're using your media, framework, you're feeding into your ecosystem. You're building blocks that you can even come back to whenever they're needed. And also, you actually create a pathway and a framework that your clients can follow, and it's easy for them to just say, you know what, I think I understand what Claire does or what Dolly does. I don't need to find out any more from anyone. Let me now just see if I'm the right person to work with them. Or I hear you also saying, I'm not taking enough. I was talking about AWS and how all of that stuff is happening. Let me tell you something. Most of these systems that are out there, they're just plug and play now. Really simple for you to actually just, decide that, okay, this is who I'm going to show up as. All you just need is your story. Who are you and how are you going to be helping people? I just told you what my story is. And I don't think we used any tech that anybody doesn't know. Right now, we are on Zoom. That could be the tech that you need, and you record these sessions. And once we've recorded this, if somebody watches this on YouTube, this could be also of value to them. And for those that are watching on YouTube, you should have come on the live, because you're missing out on the energy in the room. But you get what I mean, right? So people might just think, all you need is, if you understand where you want to take your customer or where they are and where you want them to be, your message, your marketing becomes the bridge. And all you got to do is find a way that you're comfortable to repeat that message over and over and over again. I found podcasts to be the easiest way. I just invite people, they do all the talking. I'm talking to you, Claire and Tamara, and I just sit and smile. And they create content. And guess what happens pretty much after that? They share that on my behalf. And I also help them spread their message. Everybody wins. And before you know it, you start having so many other people, so many other, audiences that you might not have thought or might not been able to reach. But there's not a lot of tech that happens into that. Zoom really runs my business. So if you really look at it, if we have recorded this, we can transcribe this into a blog. And that can sit onto my website. We can then use this as a newsletter. How many people receive our newsletter? And then from there, you can start chopping it up into posts that people can actually use. So some people think there's a lot that needs to happen, but half of the time you just need structure, and you just need to understand the essence of why you're doing what you're doing. And once that's in there, you can now start organizing your life in such a way that you don't necessarily have to keep showing up and keep dancing on TikTok. I don't know. Maybe that's the way you reach out to your audience. But if you see the way people engage or consume content on TikTok. It's just like this. You spend maybe hours and hours creating that post and somebody just flicks within 5 seconds. And I might hear you saying, but doesn't social media still matter? Of course, it is a great part of what we're doing, but I wanted you to have a different paradigm shift. You're not creating for social media. You're letting social media be the distribution of what you have already created. It is just an amplifier. It is not the pen. It is not the microphone. Because so many people actually think social media is what you need, but you need to create, understand your message, understand your actual delivery and offer. And once you've got all of that, you start using social media as a way to engage with those that don't quite know you, or validate to those that already know you. And then you're just making it easy for them to, you know, make their way back to you. So I was on a plane to Brisbane on the weekend. We were having an event there, and I actually just saw this whole thing play out. Everybody was coming from all different directions at the airport and everything else, and they were going all in all manner of directions. And there was stores that sold bags and, you know, lotions, potions, or whatever it is, as if somebody will come to the airport without a bag and then start deciding, oh, I need shorts, I need t-shirts, I need sunglasses. I don't know, maybe some people do that, but it's things like that. And I just thought the airport is just like social media. People are out there, somebody's missed their plane, they're running across there. You're not going to stop them and say, hey, sorry, I'm from Melbourne. Do you know, my name is Prosper. They'll look at you and be like, excuse me, are you crazy? Or they'll call the police on you. That's exactly what is happening on social media. So think of the time you were at a bus stop or at a train, at an airport. Everybody's busy doing what they're doing. All the social media pages are all those little shops that are also hoping you walk in and whatever it is. And guess what is happening throughout there? No one is asking me for my email address or my phone number so they can follow up with me. How often am I going to go back to that same airport and deal with that business ever again? So all I'm saying is, if somebody comes into your space, find a way to convert that person into some sort of information that you can utilize, and then slowly engage and follow up with them. All right. And I could hear you thinking, oh, I think this is a lot of work. Oh, I couldn't do this. But I'll tell you something, when you really just put your mind to it, you just drill all your activities to just one particular thing that you're, and I keep repeating it. Are you good at talking? Are you good at writing? Or are you good at video? And once you know what that particular thing is, can you imagine if you're just doing one video a week, that video is turned into a blog post, is turned into an email, it's turned into a newsletter, and it can be repurposed into social media posts as well. And you put it on YouTube, and YouTube pays you to help them entertain their people. Even if it's peanuts, but at least now you understand you're being paid. So if you're putting posts out there and you're the one that's paying, I don't know how much money bags you've got going on there. Because I understand a lot of people think, oh yeah, that's amazing, but I don't think I could do that. You know, I used to think the same. I used to think, oh, I just need to log into my Facebook, show up to people. But guess what? It was all for nothing. Remember when I told you I was scrubbing dishes in a restaurant and then it was Facebook? We were just acting from the front. And that can be taken away. And when I got banned from Facebook, I thought to myself, this time I need to do it bigger, better, faster. But here's the truth. I mean, every person you will come across, they have some sort of media that they own. They have some sort of assets that they own. They just might not tell you. I can give you a few examples. All right. I've worked with this guy here. He does a lot of traditional marketing where he does printing of clothes. And guess what we did? We have created a networking event inside of his shop. every month people come and mix and mingle, and they're actually touching his clothes, and they're actually ordering and things of that nature. Now he owns that. And we just use social media to amplify that. So whenever people show up to his place, they get the best of both worlds. They're looking at the clothes. They're also getting to interact with them and also networking in the process. Okay, so you might think this is a difficult one. I've got, maybe some of you guys would recognize Khan. Khan is a real estate agent who is now starting his own podcast. And his podcast is going to be connecting, business people and local people in the North, because that is what he's good at. I mean, as a real estate agent, if he couldn't talk, then he wouldn't have been in business. So we now decided for him, instead of him just talking about houses, he's now started a podcast of his own. And from there, that could be distributed to a lot more people. And there's a lot more reach, because what he sells is a once in a lifetime commodity, not commodity, but product. Because once you've bought a house, you don't necessarily need to show up to him. Maybe tomorrow, maybe every 3 years, people come back for refinancing or maybe wanting an investment. But usually when somebody has bought a house, that's it. So how do you stay front of mind without annoying them about last week's sales? You start introducing them. Yeah, you start introducing. That's fine, Claire. Thank you so much. I'm just about to wind up. So there's so many other different businesses as well. There's so many other different businesses that are out there. These guys are a roofing company, and I got Brooke to start a newsletter. She's really good at writing, so she's using all her written experience to create so much of her connection with the audience. I could go on and on with all the other people. All that is really needed is just a mindset shift. You don't necessarily need to be a marketer. You just need to be more of an author of your story. And here's something that really changed the paradigm for me. Authority has the word author in it. So when you're authoring something, you're either authoring a book, authoring a newsletter, even authoring a video, authoring a podcast. So in essence, if you can write an email, you literally can own your media. All right. Some people might just say, oh, my audience is not online. I'll tell you something. Everyone is online. You just haven't gone out to meet them yet. And if you really look at it, what do people come to the internet for? If you can type it in the comments there, what do you think people actually come to the internet for? Who knows? What do people come to the internet for? Entertainment? Yes, that's a good one. If you're entertaining them, then that's good. If you're educating them, then that's good. And people come for knowledge. That's also a good one. People come to learn, to connect, and be entertained. So what is it in your business that you can start creating that entertains people and that helps people? All right. So in essence, I just really want you to have an understanding that, yes, we know the world might be too noisy, or you're afraid that nobody will notice, but that's really why you actually need to own your media, so you can cut through this noise. It actually empowers you to not have to contribute to the noise. Because remember, your unique story just deserves a lot of recognition, and with the right approach, you'll be able to stand out. So just start owning it. All right. And some people might say, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have the resources. You're already spending time feeding somebody else's platform. Why not invest it in your own? Why not put it in such a way that you are creating for and relating to your audience? Because when you invest in your own media, you're creating something that lasts, something that's valuable. And it's about making a choice that actually benefits you in the long run. So you want to invest in your own media assets, and then you watch how this will actually transform the way you show up. You're no longer anxious about any algorithm changes and things of that nature. And you're just reallocating whatever energy and resources that you have already been putting in somebody else's platform only to your own platform. So I've created something which can help you manage this and start creating, in this way. So that's the reason why we are actually doing this. But in order for you to have access to this, I want you first to have an understanding of you and your business and who you want to reach and how often you want to do that. And then I'm offering everyone that's on the call today what we call a free online presence audit. All right. So this presence audit just basically gives you a deep, personalized diagnostic that actually reveals exactly what's blocking your growth online and how we can fix it. This is not like a quick quiz or anything. It's like literally we're looking at the 360 of who you are, what it is that you do, why now, and why should anybody care. All right. And with this audit, you're going to be getting full before, during, and after your client journey. You're also going to get a detailed written, and maybe if there's a need for me to actually do a personalized video so that you have an understanding of how it actually works. And then I'll give you a step-by-step strategy and examples of how this works. And after that, you get a clear roadmap of how to start, where to start, and how to actually get started. So you walk away with a framework, a blueprint, and even examples, templates of how we've done it for other people. And you also have the support of our community. We're literally hand-holding you and also being accountable. And once you've got this becomes a lifetime asset. So you might be wondering, how do I get this? So we have created a club. In this club, if you scan this QR code, you actually get 14 days free. All right, for you to really figure out how it works. And the first thing that you do when you get in is you order your total online presence audit. And once you've ordered your audit, I will look into it, and then I'll give you everything that I've mentioned that you'll be receiving. So this Media Moguls Club is a private membership community for entrepreneurs that have decided they no longer want to chase algorithms. They no longer want to spray and pray with their marketing. They're tired of random acts of marketing and being at the mercy of social media platforms. And inside there, you become what we call a mogul. People who own their message, people who have mastered their marketing, and people who have built their business so that it's both profitable and enjoyable. So this whole thing is not just a club, it's an identity. And when you join in, you'll be able to see exactly what we've been building. All right. So just scan that QR code, start your 14-day trial. And then from there, I'll be inside and I'll handhold you for the 14 days. You can ask me all the questions that you want. You can literally walk away, no questions asked. I just want to help people create something so that they don't have to keep repeating themselves and be, at the mercy of these algorithms. And once you're in, this is also something that you will be surprised. We're doing live masterclasses. You're learning from people, things like this. We're doing, virtual roundtables. If you get stuck, you're literally being, being helped by other people that are also going through the same. So this is something that I'm going to be building. Before, I used to do done-for-you services, but now I'm going to be helping people one-on-one. And when they're ready and good, they can go away, no questions asked. So you can come and go as you please with all the proven marketing frameworks of what I have learned, everything that you might think of. And while you're there, hey, that's it from me. I just wanted to present to you that this is where we are. And you might think that's the value, but guess what? You're only going to be paying $375 per month after you finished your 14-day trial. So if this has been something that you want to get started, just start your trial. 14 days, no questions asked. And we'll see you on the inside. Thank you so much for taking your time. For those that are watching right now, and for those that are going to be tuning in on YouTube, this is going to be available, as a replay. But I'm opening up to the people that are on live today because you took your time. Do you have any questions about anything I have mentioned? I want to be able to answer them and see how we can be of help to you. Thank you so much, Tamara. Tamara, how do you see yourself using something like this?
Yeah, there you go. That's better. Now you can hear me.
Hmm.
Well, I'm not going to do any dancing on the social media platforms for sure. But yeah, uh, it is quite intimidating doing a lot of marketing online and social media, and I totally understand and respect that you need to go in and target your market and be a little bit different. Um, so yeah, it's a good idea. Like Khan's done a great job, and I do know that gentleman who does the embroidery. I remember when he first started, so he's come a long way, which is great.
Absolutely.
But
See, the
yeah,
thing is,
so it's
yeah,
all still very interesting.
absolutely. Thank you so much. So the thing is, when you take people out of the social media and you start talking to them one to one, you really get to understand who they are, what it is that they do. So maybe for yourself, I can give you something for sure. You literally can bring people in by, say, offering them an ebook of not necessarily the rates, but what a first home owner buyer can be
Mm,
on the lookout for. And in exchange for that, you get their email address. And once
mm,
every month, you can actually do webinars and start really asking people who, if the call to action could be, if you're ready in the next 3 months, these are the kind of things that you now start need to putting in place. Because so many people don't quite know, especially maybe people that are running their own business, they might not know how to actually go about this.
exactly.
All right. So you now own that category. You now know your marketing is just whatever you're doing throughout the month. Your liquidation event is that one webinar every single month. And that's when you're making your conversions happen. Now you know you've got work for the next month, and those people that are ready in the next 3 months, you follow up on those people that have showed up to those webinars. And it takes you away from the whole wanting to, oh, I put up a post today, or did people convert with that and everything else. You're just looking at that one particular thing. That's what I see for you. And
Yeah,
yeah,
don't try and flood the market. Just take a
yeah,
select few at the moment.
absolutely, absolutely.
Mm.
So one of my team is here, Chanel. She might maybe follow up with you and see if you want to book in a total online presence audit, and then we'll get that going. And whichever way, this is something I'm going to be doing for the rest of my business life now, just really walking people through all of this, because like I said, after 2035, I don't see a lot of people that are in business right now going past because of the way things keep changing. And I specifically didn't want to talk about AI because that's yet another
Mm,
animal in and of itself.
that certainly is.
Absolutely. Great stuff. Now, Lisa, I just wanted to acknowledge that you're here. Do you have any questions for me?
Hi, Prosper. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Oh, lovely, lovely. So, thank you very, very much for the invitation to our A10 today. I thoroughly enjoyed your sharing. I've listened to every word you've said. I will, in the future, reach out to you. Right now is in an inappropriate time, but everything you've said makes 100% sense to me. I started Facebook in 2017. I had made tens and tens of videos, live videos, anything from 15 to 30 to 45 minutes, giving very, very beneficial spiritual education to help people. And 2 years ago, I received a text via Messenger saying that I had breached copyright, and they named the post, which was totally original from me. And if I didn't provide my verification, such as date of birth, driver's license, and all this, they would shut me out of Facebook. Well, they gave me 48 hours, but they did it instantly. And regardless of what I did, they have never reinstated my page, which I had over, I think there was about 100 videos there. There was so much content. I had spent
Wow.
years, yeah, I lost everything. So they left my Instagram intact, which is good, but most of my videos weren't there. They were all on, because I used to record them live on Facebook. So I've personally been through what you are talking about. I haven't made videos now for many years, because when I speak with my clients, I do it direct, face to face. I don't particularly use Zoom. It doesn't seem to work for me. I have problems all the time, but I seem to be okay on WhatsApp video.
Mm. 100 videos, that's something. But thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lisa, for jumping on. And is that Kapilani?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Good morning.
Kapilani, yes. Good to hear from you.
Good to hear from you. Thank you so much for the session. It was very informative, extremely informative. I think the struggle that I'm having is having multiple businesses and having to then focus on one and give it that full focus. Yet, obviously, there's multiple live streams that should be coming from each business. For instance, I'll say I'm a lawyer by profession, and with about 20 years experience. And obviously, I have a wealth of knowledge that I can impart to people. And that's a very serious part of me, of who I am.
Right.
And then this other side of me where being a lawyer obviously enters every sphere of influence. That is being a doctor, everywhere, government, everywhere. You literally have a space there. So it's very difficult for me to it almost feels like I've got multiple personality. That's how I feel. It makes me look like, because I fit everywhere as it really does as a lawyer. And then again, I'm also a pastor, and I'm on Facebook. I've got about 6,000 viewership, even internationally. And then there I am. I have to be told something totally different out of the law. I have to have all this grace and all, and I feel like I'm schizophrenic, and 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 I have to communicate with my audience as a pastor as well. And with the revival that's happening across the world, I can't come across as somebody too rigid with the law, yet I operate by the law in terms of being a lawyer. So I feel like I really need help. Then I'm a construction worker on the other side as well. So I feel it's a big mess. It makes me feel very, very awkward. Yeah.
I can imagine. Thank you so much for that. All right. I just am mindful of time, but what I will just say is you are your brand. You are the person that people would connect with first. All right. So, the Kapilani thank you so much, Tamara. And yeah, I really appreciate you showing up today. See you later. So you are your brand, Kapilani. What that means is who you say you are, what do people benefit from that? So let's start with the legal set of things. Do you commercially practice law?
Yes, I do. I'm actually practicing.
Are you like standing in court, or do you do you maybe help people with out of court type stuff?
I do civil litigation, which you can say it's out of court stuff, but I find myself, as a result of this multiple personality, I find myself actually at times giving out information that I should be benefiting from.
Yes.
And then when I go to court, then that's my only capitalizing money, which is a lot, but then I still need with the current condition of the economy, obviously I still need that part where I'm giving out for free. I found myself forced to do that, to give out, which I no longer want to do. So I want to be able to find the balance and not be schizophrenic and I really feel like I'm
okay. So what you're missing there, Kapilani, is just one thing. If you find what is your highest converting product, so in your space, I can actually look at divorce. Is that something that, because you're dealing with people and relationships, and especially with their faith, then obviously with that would come the aspect of their personal lives, which maybe they might need help with divorce and some sort of out of court settlement. If you
yeah. Well, I do divorce matters, but I don't know if it's not possible for me to focus only on divorce. But I hear your point of view.
Yeah.
I do a lot of medical negligence matters, your
Okay.
road accident matters, your very serious matters where you have payouts in the millions. So I kind of don't have time for the little stuff, also
Oh.
because of the experience I have. I don't have the leisure. But at the same time, when I want to expose myself that I'm an attorney, and it's obviously good to talk about the little stuff, but it doesn't pay me as much as the big stuff. So, and also if I come online and I give too much information on the big stuff, then you lose clientele in that way as well. So how do I find the balance there? Yeah, and I can't really mix. It's not possible for me to mix the legal aspect with the ministry aspects. It's got to be two separate things. It can't be one, because there's there's this thing that in ministry, pastors just want your money. And then if I'm going to come aside and, oh God, and I'm speaking
Maybe,
about,
yeah, maybe what we can do, I need to just maybe have a look at what you've done. This is where maybe us doing an online presence audit sort of works, because then once we've figured out what exactly you're doing and compare it to maybe what else is already on the market and what's palatable, because you're doing so many things. First, we don't want the customer getting confused, and second, we don't want you confusing yourself, because once you're confused, if you confuse, you lose. All right, so what just needs to happen is maybe let's set up a time. Whereabouts are you based, Kapilani?
I'm based in Durban.
Oh, okay. I think one of our team there is in South Africa. If we can just get them to maybe get in touch and set up a time so that we can do an audit, or maybe we can actually just sit down and look at what's possible. It could be, yes, 3 different streams, or we could actually break it down in such a way that it is different services by the same person. All right. It's like Richard Branson. He's into money, he's into flights and all those things, but he's still the one person who is the personal brand. So we could actually consolidate all of those things into one big brand. You just so happen to have different departments. So that's the easiest way.
That sounds like me.
Yeah.
Not me trying to be somebody else that's palatable to everybody else. Like, you got too much going on. Just reduce yourself to this. I'm also an author as well.
You know what they say, if you chase 2 rabbits with you end up not catching any. So once people are confused as to who you are or how you can best help them, it's not gonna work for them there, right? So hopefully this sort of helps. The video is going to be available in the community as well as part of our content. But I really appreciate those that took time to join us. I mean, obviously, this is the first one. We're just trying to figure out how this actually works. And every month, on the first Monday, or whenever the third lies, we'll be trying to do all of these webinars. So you can join us. You can come and see what else we're creating, or just reach out to one of our team members. We're now wanting to help others not go through what we went through. And I really, really appreciate each and every one of you guys for joining us today. If there's any other questions, reach out to our team or send us a message, and I'll definitely be responding. But in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.